Welcome to the first game of the series. Again, this is Violent Ends, Act 2. You are watching Avitos as humans in the bottom left against his opponent Sardine. Avitos' opponent in round 1 was Nikolai, who put up pretty fierce goo opposition, but eventually Avitos managed to overcome it with pretty early aggression using primarily Gladii and Tier 1 units. But this time he is not up against Goo, he is up against Sardine, playing as Beta, who we have not seen in the tournament yet because his opponent, unfortunately, did not show. So this is going to be Sardine's first game of the tournament, and let's see what he has to offer. He has chosen Beta, and is opening with a single factory. And it looks like he will be able to take out this Trident here with these two commandos. Does take one commando with him, however, and we will also have a single factory opening from Avitos. The Trident making its way towards the center, and two commandos making their way towards the center as well. This factory is going to continue producing commandos in the meantime. And a revolver, very early revolver there from Avitos. I think he's going to try to use that to snipe harvesters or hubs. Obviously the revolver is not very effective against commandos compared to the Trident. It's not bad. It's just not that cost effective. Two commandos are sufficient to screen the Trident away. And he will probably lose this engagement. Don't think he should go in on these three commandos. Commandos didn't really focus fire. He manages to pick one off before he loses anything, but it looks like Sardine will chase. No, he breaks off the chase. Dealing damage versus getting a kill almost doesn't make that big of a difference in the early game, because unless human plans on holding on to those until he gets self-repair, they're just gonna explode as soon as the next engagement begins anyway, especially since attack move automatically prioritizes low health units. So, dealing damage without securing a kill is still valuable. Small hub going up here, as well as a slightly defensive turret, and another small hub going up there, possibly attempting to stop offensive walling. And we also have a pretty early tank attachment here from Sardine, as well as a very quick second refinery. So both of them got a very quick second refinery after just a small handful of tier 1 units. Avitos is now going into two factories, as well as an air attachment, probably going to grab himself some monitors to scout what his opponent is doing. And the Beta looks like he's going to go with a pretty greedy start here. There's the third refinery already, and he's not even making predators out of this factory, just commandos, so definitely a pretty greedy opening. Third refinery from the human will probably be soon to follow, although he is producing quite a few tier 1 units from these two factories now. And Avitos looks like he's striking a very balanced opening. Not very aggressive, not very greedy. Two factories producing with two refineries bringing money in will put him at plus 10 per second, so that's a new refinery relatively soon, but also a decent amount of forces to apply, a little bit of pressure. By comparison, Sardine is pretty much cranking the greed up to the max, going with 3 refineries while he's only got one factory making any units. And there's a fourth refinery, very greedy. Fourth refinery already, Avitos still operating on only 2. There's the third one now. So we will see a decent amount of tier 1 units out of Avitos. By comparison, we've only got like 4 commandos. Sardine. There's a 5th one on that tower. So Sardine is playing very greedy, and unfortunately Avitos isn't doing a whole lot to punish it. With his 2 refinery opening, he made all of these tier 1 units, but he didn't really send them to do anything. He's just got them sitting here defending. He must have thought that his opponent was going to play aggressive when he saw that tank attachment, but in reality he's going with 4 refineries. But the monitor is here, and it's going to scout this. And once he sees that 2 refineries have been built, I wonder if he's going to react to that with a charge. Doesn't look like it. Looks like he's just gonna continue to sit here. And there's a 5th refinery. 5th refinery. This greed is truly insane. If Avitos doesn't move to punish it soon, he's going to be in a bit of trouble. I mean, he's reacting to it by building a ton of refineries of his own, but he's already kind of behind. And here comes the production. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 small hubs. 6 small hubs. 6 factories. That is a lot of tank attachments. I think those are all tank attachments. Looks like Avitos is moving to try to punish now. 5 commandos against 6 revolvers. The monitor has scouted this. He knows exactly what's coming. If I were Avitos, I would just crank out nothing but revolvers for the rest of the game. There's a lot of predators on the way. But he disengaged. I guess he didn't think he could take on however many commandos this is. He's probably right. I mean, he's going into 5 refineries himself. So both players basically just went straight to... I mean, they kind of... Avitos was a little behind on getting refineries, I guess. But, like, basically both players have gone straight to 5 refineries before any real aggression. Wow, look at this extractor placement, though. Avitos has placed only 2 extractors on his initial river, and 2 more here in the north. So it's going to take a while for him to get a return on that investment, and it's a little bit risky if his opponent gets some predators into this harvester line. That's going to be a serious problem. But it does mean that he won't mine out this initial starting expansion nearly as quickly as his opponent is obviously going to, with 3 refineries mining that. Not to mention he's only got 1 extractor here. So, I mean, you can already see that this resource pool is going to run out a lot faster than this one's going to. But the Mega Predator production has begun. 6 factories all making Predators. Kind of dangerous to make only 1 unit when there is a monitor floating right above your factories. I mean, it's quite obvious that Avitos knows exactly what he's up against. I am amazed that he's still making Tridents. Like, why would you make Tridents when there's 6 Predators coming out at a time? He does have a decent force of revolvers. I guess he's just mixing Tridents in because they're cheaper? I don't know. He's made all 4 attachment types on his small factory. He's got a large factory going now, as well as quite a few air pads, so he's clearly intending to make a few air units, probably sites if I had to guess. He does have this factory capable of making sites with tank and air attachment on it. Or he could just make scimitars out of these 2 factories if he wanted to. And both of them are going to stick to 5 refineries for quite a while here as they crank out a ton of units, and they're probably going to clash here in the middle. I'm not sure who's going to win this engagement once the Predators start to really mass. I don't know. There's definitely a healthy amount of revolvers in there. This is going to be a close one, I think. But Avitos is not engaging, neither is Sardine. Sardine sending his forces straight down to the brush. Probably going to pull around here, but there's a howitzer on the field. That's going to be a pretty serious problem. I mean, Predators are better against howitzers than Commandos or Stalkers because they're tankier and bigger, but it's still a pretty serious problem. The engagement, it looks like Avitos is going to engage by walking straight into the brush. The howitzer will be able to fire at range relatively safely. Looks like it got a nasty shot off, and I think Avitos is pulling ahead and winning here. There's also 2 sites. Those sites probably just did a massive amount of damage. Sites were probably what turned the engagement, actually, in Avitos' favor there. Completely cleaning up that entire army. And this one's probably next. 1 Predator goes down. A few Tier 1 units getting cleaned up as well. Predators are actually walking straight into the human base. Probably going to try to disrupt the harvester line. Maybe pick up that howitzer. And the sites will be reloaded soon. Most of those Tier 1 units have been cleaned up, and more Predators are on their way from the north. We do have a Lancer here in the mix. A Lancer, probably not bad. Probably not bad to use against Predator spam. Just throw it behind your Tier 1 units, and it'll laser beam a few to death. I mean, Lancers and Howitzers combined is just generally going to be a solid composition against most ground unit types. Unless you were just spamming a million Commandos and Stalkers and splitting them really nicely. But it really just comes down to who can outproduce the other person. Avitos is getting his 6th refinery now. Sardine is still on 4? I mean 5? 6. He's on 6. Made a second one on this small hub. But Avitos is rapidly taking control of the center of the map, which is a pretty big problem. Pretty big problem. He's about to be able to set up a very scary containment on Sardine, which he may struggle to break free of, and we will also note that Sardine has got extractors over here on the left and is nowhere near as close to being mined out as his opponent. He's spread his extractors between all of the different pools, and not even close to being mined out, as his opponent is already at about less than half on it. Well, on this. This one still has a pretty healthy amount remaining, but it's just a matter of time, really, and human army is about to shut down 2 refineries, which is going to put a massive dent in Sardine's production, and he really needs to get this stuff out of here. But if he just continues to make massive amounts of ground units, he's not really going to have a solution to the scythes or the howitzers, and he won't be able to engage very cost effectively. The diversity of Avitos' army is really what's going to come through for him here and help him keep this containment. In fact, even just keeping this small hub destroyed is going to be a serious problem. And look at that! Bringing the Lancers along is going to help him laser beam these refineries down so much quicker than if he had brought only tier 1 units and howitzers. Just throwing in 1 Lancer makes a world of difference in putting a huge blow to your opponent's economy. And there you have it. Good game. Avitos wins. We will take a short break and jump into the next game of the series.